Hello guys, welcome back to SMSOFTWARE PHP crash course for total beginners 2025. Whether you are brand new to web development or want a quick refresher, this series will help you master PHP from basics to real world apps. So PHP is a server-side scripting language. So it's widely used for by big platforms like WordPress, Facebook, Wikipedia, many more. Right. So for you to start learning PHP, so you need at least some knowledge in HTML, CSS, and also JavaScript. But it doesn't matter if you don't know any of that. I can still cover that in this course here. So some topics we'll cover in here. We'll cover PHP syntax, form handling, files, simple create, create, read, update, delete, and some PHP advanced topics, and also object oriented programming, and also integrate my SQL database. So by the end of that, so we'll create this project. Right. So we will create this just a small project. So kind of a to-do list. Just a to-do. We can help you. A user can create new, or add new message here, and also delete it. But most important is we're going to cover much of things, or topics about PHP. All right. My name is Shaban Muswamba. If you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also like the video, share with the others. Let's get started. All right. So to get started with the PHP, you have to make sure that the PHP is installed in our machine. So if you are on Windows or Mac, doesn't matter. We can still go along. So instead to install PHP directly, we can actually use XAMPP. So you can go to a browser, type for XAMPP like this, XAMPP. So download the XAMPP. If you go to example, you'll see that we have for Windows, we have version for Windows, and we also have for Linux and Mac, and OS or Mac. But another thing is, if you have PHP installed in your machine, you don't need to do anything. To confirm that, you can search for terminal. So open your terminal and then just type php-v. If you have PHP installed, you'll see this one. You'll see the PHP, the version. You can see the current version is 8.1.8.25. So it doesn't matter. You can install if you are going to install here, you see that the version you can install is 8 or 8.1 or 8.2. So that's it for starting. There's nothing else complicated unless you want to install the full you set up the full PHP on your machine. All right. Next, we just want to create a folder and start learning PHP. All right. So after installation and confirm that our PHP exists, so we can go now to our C and create now new folder. So first of all, from XAMPP, you can open XAMPP. This is within C here. Open XAMPP and open the HD docs. So from here, we can now create our site or a folder where we want to now to write a PHP files, to create PHP files. So we can create now this, create a folder called PHP full course. So this is kind of a site, yeah. This is a site actually, and now from here we can say we open this with the VS Code. You can open with the VS Code or any other text editor. All right. So we want to talk a little bit about PHP. So any PHP file so must end with an extension .php. So we can create a file here .index.php. So if you use index.php, we see this icon here. You'll see the file appear there with icon. All right. So this is how you create a PHP file. And this way the server will know that okay, this is PHP file to be executed. Next thing is that any PHP code so must be placed within the opening and closing tag of PHP. So I can do PHP. So this is how we create a PHP opening tag, and this is how we create closing tag like this. So this is closing tag for PHP. So the rest here we can now say plus any PHP code in here. So the rest of the PHP code you can place in here. It can be placed in here. Right. But if after this, how can you read now this file? Or how can you tell the server to read now this file? So this is a kind of site, just the way you said before that. This is a site for the server to read this. So first of all, you must make sure that the XAMPP is running. So go to search box, search for XAMPP, this one, the app panel, and open the panel here. Start the Apache. You can also start the MySQL, doesn't matter. And after that, make sure that it's running. If it's running, you will see it there, green, and also you can see it down here. You must see one. So this shows that I have two, so one must be running again. But we're going to go now to our browser, since we want to now to see the PHP code from the browser or access our site from the browser. So what we can do is we want to now load the name. We want to now load the our browser, load our site. So the way to load our site, so we need to check now localhost, http column dash localhost. So from here now, what is the name of our site? The name is PHP full course. So if we go back and type for PHP full course like this, load. Now our file is here, our site is here. But if I type something else, I'll get an error, not found. So this is actually the server. This is Apache server which is running. So the PHP code must be executed in the server, or on the server. All right. So we can now load again. You see, there's nothing there. So what we want to do, we can go back to our PHP, our index file, or our site from VS Code. First thing we want to do is we want to talk about syntax. So from this file, for PHP, you can write both PHP code and HTML code. We can even write another script in there from PHP. Let me show you an example. So I can do here HTML5. So I can say PHP course like this. And here, let's give our search title PHP course. And for paragraph, Just going to add here comment hello world, and we can my first PHP page like this. Okay, so if I save this, I go back to the browser, reload, you see now we got our page name and we got now PHP course here. So you can write you can do everything within this file index.php. Yes, you can do everything from index.php. You can write a CSS, PHP script, anything from here. Okay, so another thing I want to show you, we're moving around a little bit. So another thing we want to talk is before going into variables or anything, I want to talk to you about comment. So comment, this is a comment, what you call in PHP, but I must tell this that this is PHP and close tag. So I can create and I can add comment here, comment. So this is how you add comment in PHP. You can use double line, or I don't know how you call this, but you can call it a double slash. You can use double slash, or you can also use a hash like this hash. This is a comment, so you can use both this and the other one. But there's also multiple line, which you can use slash plus star and close it the same way. So this is multiple lines. So you can write many, another line here. This is another PHP. This is, you can write many things in here. Doesn't matter how many. So the same thing, you can also you can use the same thing in here. You can place the same code within this one. So it doesn't matter. So this can be vice versa. So you can write PHP code. You can write PHP code in like this. You can also write HTML code inside PHP, inside PHP tag. We will see all of that, but we are just trying to explore much about PHP. Another one important thing is a PHP variable. So declaring a variable or create a variable in PHP. So you start with the dollar sign. Yeah? So you can do something like this. Let's say create a variable. So variables start with the dollar sign, and then you give the name you want. Let's say, for example, name, or let's say give let's say info. Info is equal to, so dollar sign, you give the name. There's no space between dollar sign and the name of your variable, and followed by equal sign and quote. This could be single quote or double quote, it doesn't matter, but the line must end with a semicolon. So hello world, the line must end with a semicolon. So you can now take this file, or you can take your variable, and to now lock the message, the way now you use or you lock the message on PHP, we use echo. We can use echo. Echo is just to tell the PHP, or to tell the server to print out this message on the browser. So echo info, if I save that, you go back here, reload, you will now get my first page, hello world. So this is how you create a variable. So variable, you can create a variable for anything. Let's say, for example, info. You can also create my age. Say my age is 30, and I can do my age. That's not my age. My age is equal to 30. So if I do echo again, echo. So I said before that you can write HTML inside inside PHP code, just the way you write PHP code inside HTML. So this is we use break. We can use break here to print out. But what I want to do is I want to tell the browser to echo out. So I want to show you how also we can write that to echo out H1 or H2 close tag my age and print the age. So this is how you can also tell the browser to just read the HTML within your PHP code. For example, you see my age is 30. So the server knows, okay, this, since here is sign, dollar sign, and this is the variable. So server knows that automatically this is a variable. So you must interpret this as HTML code. And you see that also respect that where was tag, respect the tag here. Okay, next. So there is also many way you can, let's say for example, describe a variable. Let's say you have a variable you call, let's say another variable. This is the name of my business. So I want to give a variable name, name of my business. This is my variable. So you can write this variable this way. So we can do $sign name of my business. So we can use underscore. You can use underscore for your variable. Make sure there's no space, and you cannot use this. This is an error. You cannot use hyphen, no, but you can use underscore. So if I save that and I go down here, echo that. If you echo that here, you see that the name of my business is name of my business. Okay, so this is a way you can do it. Another thing is you can also assign a date here. You can say my let's say birthday is equal to, but instead to do that, or let's say you want to create date. Let's say my date is equal to date dot time date time. So if I equal that and you want to see what you get in what you got in browser, now we get an error, fatal quote error. So this is how you can also how the PHP throw error. So you can see that you can read the error directly from the browser. So we can fix this. If you can do that. Yeah, let's save that, reload. You can get this date, but you can get You can also get date.now. All right, so we can play with the date. There's a different way you can do with the data. So we are not going to use all of that here to save time, but you will discover much later on. But one thing, let's talk about. I can remove this everything here. Let's talk about data data types in PHP. All right. Okay, let's just save this and log out. Okay, so PHP data types. So we got string. I have to type that you can see list of data types in PHP. Okay, so we have string, integer, float, boolean, array, and object. So another way is we also have nil, string, integer, float, boolean, array, object, nil, and resource. Okay, so what is first? We can see each of one of these to help us go faster. We don't want to spend much time. We can go fast. So we have seen string. String, we can use a variable to assign different data type. So let me say a variable. Let's say data type or data type like this string. String. Let's say we can put semicolon. These are data. These are string. If you put semicolon, these are string. If you put I want to show you. We don't need to put it like that. So if semicolon like sorry, if it's single quote or double quote, so this is still data type. This is still string. So this is how we define a string data type. So we can put in here. Let's say this is a string data type or PHP variable. So this is how you define a string. So define now integer, which is this one. The string is the first one. Define now integer. You just put the number. That is just number. So we have also you can define let's say float. So this is you can put 1.1 or 0.1. So these are data. These are floats. So we also have boolean, which could be default is which could be false or true. False or true. These are boolean. So we also have array, which you can define array by just using this one, keyword array, and you can put the rest of the thing inside. You can put another array. You can put another array of arrays. Let's put like this, and another array. So it can be anything. Array, that's how you define array, but you can also define array just like this. Square bracket, this could be also a way to, this is a way we can also define a way to define an array in PHP. We also have object. So for object, you can do new is equal to std class, and we define object. You also have this nullable. You can say, for example, let me give you an example. Name, you can put name is equal to nil, and then later on, let's say you can say name, that name is equal to, let's say is equal to John Doe. So you see that there it was nil, and we change it to something. Okay, so this is, I just want to print all of them, the rest of these data types here, so you can see it from the browser. You want to see it, how to appear there. If you reload, this is how it appear. This is a string, PHP variable, integer, float, boolean. This one got an error. Which one was it? 45. Array. So array, you cannot print array that way. Yeah. So I'll tell you why. Because array, you must print it as a loop. You must loop through array. And also the rest one, the other object too, you cannot print object that way. If you want to print the other way, I can show you that. You can do this way, JSON encode, and you pass that so that you become as a string. Also do JSON encode. So if you do this way, you print. Don't worry about the rest. We will work on about JSON or whatever. You will work on that. But for now, I just want to show you array cannot be printed. It cannot be printed like that from the browser, because it must be a string. So this is the data type. So data types, these are things you use a lot within your program or application. So another thing is, we can actually see a lot, but this is a crash course. So we just want to see bunch of things. We want to see bunch of things and also move around a little bit. So another thing we want to also to see is we want to talk about the common things which we use much. So we have seen about data types, but we can skip all of this. Let's talk about array. So we can I can close all of this one. I can remove all of this. Talk about array. Say PHP array. So we can do var, let's say people is equal to, so we can write, you can define array this way. You can define an array this way, or you can just do this way. Is equal to, let's say, John Doe, let's say John Doe, Bob Smith. So this is how we define array in PHP. So you can define this way, or you can do, you can use a key array and parentheses, and just put the rest inside. So it's the same thing as the rest of the programming languages. You can do, for example, people. I want to print people. So if I print this one, it will throw an error, the way you saw before. Print this, it will throw an error. I said, okay, array to string conversion in C XAMPP, htdocs, PHP full course, index, index.php line 32. So this is exactly here. So the thing is, you must tell PHP that, okay, this is an array, but I want to convert this to string. So if I do echo JSON encode, I can stop here for just a little bit to explain to you something. Okay, PHP is one of the best programming languages, which is well documented. So that means you can go to PHP documentation. If you open here, you see that this is official PHP documentation. You can open it with the VS Code. Didn't open it. Let's see. We can copy the link. Copy the link. So I want to show you the official PHP language, PHP documentation. So this is the official PHP documentation. You can find much more about PHP here, documentation, the data type, the array, everything you can find it from here. You can find it here. All right, so we can now tell PHP, since we know that we can use JSON dot underscore, JSON underscore encode to convert an array to a string so that the browser can read it. So we can do like this, this way, and save it, go back to the browser, reload, and this is already here because I already ran it before. All right, so this is one way you can print array out. So the way we say that you can create this array, we can actually add another array in here. Let's say course, or let's say book one, book two, book two. If I save that, can add many. So if you reload, you get the same thing. So everything here is interpreted as a string, not as array. But if we want to print just an element from array, from this array, so I can do echo just the first element. So we want to print the first element. So with the index of 0, if I reload, you see that we get John Doe. So if I want to get the last one, the last element, so last element, which is array base is index 0. So we can take 1, 2, 3. So we want to take 2. No, we want to take number 3 because that's the last one. And then we also want to access the book 1. So to access book 1, you can do also square bracket and then just pass 0 there to access book 1. So if you reload, you get the same thing here. But we can also, since we have an array, we can then take, let's talk about if statement. We can do if statement, like if statement. So we can do if people, we want to take if the first element, the name is equal to John Doe, we want to print something. But before that, we can we can talk about a little bit symbol, which is very important. Which are very important if you want to know about it, or symbol or operators, because I can't talk about this without talking about operators before. We are going to talk about if statement. So integrate operators in PHP. Okay. So these are a list of operators we got in PHP. So we got which we can use operators, arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, logical operators, and string operators, and also array. Let's talk about arithmetic operators. So for arithmetic, arithmetic, oh, arithmetic operators. Is this correct one? Oh yes. So we can do, let's say for example, a is equal to a is equal to 2 or is equal to 5 semicolon, and b is equal to 3. So we want to do just a very, very, very simple math here. So we can do echo, remove this one. We can do echo the sum of A and B is equal to C. Okay, so if I save that, reload here, we need to delete some of these things here. Yes, we can delete this. We will get back to array later. Right, so if I save that and I reload, you see that my first PHP, but we can add break. Let's add break here. Echo break. Nope, not like that. Echo break, like that. So to give space between. So if you reload that, you see now, okay, the same sum of 5 and 3 is equal to 8. So what happened here? What happened is we take C, well, C is equal to, we do A, which is 5 plus B. So that's 8. So this is what we echo out here. So we can also do, we can do match operation. You can also do echo the sum of A and B is equal to. You can also concatenate this way. So that's how you can assign another variable or print out different variable in line. You can actually print different different variable or different line of code in a single line. This what we have here is echo the sum of A and B is equal to. So we put dot, we just put parentheses and we put the rest. So if I print out this one, this is what we get. So we get the same thing. It's the same thing actually. Here's another way you can print out that. We can also divide. Divide, say, assign operators. Let's take x is equal to 5 and x plus 3. So what do you think the answer will be? So if you echo x, we can add break, echo break. Remove this one, just echo break. The answer is equal to 8. So what we do here, we just assign the number. Let's say we said x is equal to 5, and we say x plus 3 plus equal to 3. So we just take this 3 and add to x. So we get 8. So we can do much of them. So we can also do get the remainder. You can, let's say, get a remainder. So we can do. I will just explain to you all of this, so to save time. So we can do x is equal to 5. X is equal to 5, or x x is equal to 5, and x divided by 3. So the remainder is, you'll see the remainder. I can remove this one to clear up a little bit. So if you save that, you get 2. So we can do much more. So we can't do all of them. So we can do multiplication, subtraction, we can do most of them. So now let's pass now to another one, another operator, or another PHP operator, which was now comparison. Comparison. So we can do operator or PHP operator. Comparison. Comparison like this. So what we want to do, we say, for example, x is equal to 5 and y is equal to, this is a string, so we pass 5, you shrink. So what we say now, okay, var dump. We have seen, first of all, we saw how way you can, one way to echo the message, but we also have this one. We have also var dump, which you can also just dump out the any output. So if you want to get any output, you can use var dump. So we use here x, if x is equal to y, so we're supposed to get true. And the second one is if x is equal to y, we can also get false. So we have the comparison, which if you go up here, comparison, we can see we have this single, we have single, or like this. This one is to check if the value are equal, that the same. Here check if the value are not the same, and here we check if the value that the same, include the character, the data type, if they're the same. And this the same thing to check if strictly check, strict check if the value got, if the value is the same, include the character, the I don't know if it's a uppercase, data type, all of that. If it's not the same, so return. So down here, what we do is we check if the value is the same. But if you see y is actually string, which will convert to integer, we'll get 5, and the x is actually, the data type is actually number or integer. But if we convert this to data to, we convert this to number, we will get 5, and this will get 5. So the answer is true. But this one, since we want to check the data type, we want to check, so strict check the if statement or the comparison, it will fail. Why? Because the data type, they are not the same. So if I save this and go back to the browser, we see the first one was true and the second one is false. So this is one data type. Well, we have seen operator. We see the symbols. This one is add, assign variable, or remove variable, subtraction, or whatever, all of that, subtraction, division, we use this one. Next one we can check is and logical operators. So we have we can use and. This and is exactly as and this one is O, is exactly as O, and this one is actually not. So if not, you check something, say okay, if this is not. So we can check down here. You see, for example, here we check for this variable, but let's add another variable here. Let's say, for example, w is equal to hello, and if now we check x is equal to y, we get true. But we also want to check and w is equal to hello, the answer will still be true. But down here we can check or we can also do um, and w is equal to hello with uppercase, the answer should be no, it should be false. If I reload that, let's see, the answer is still false. So even if I remove this one, I remove this to only check for w, we still get false. It's still false. Why? Because we say that this is strict check. You check for characters, you check for the data type, all of that. But if I put this to lowercase and let's see, lowercase here, that's correct. And we reload, we get true. And if I put uppercase, reload, the answer is false. Why? Because this is uppercase and that's lowercase. So we can use you can use operator to check for match. So that's one way you use it. Another way you can check is we can use if statement, but we are not there yet. We will talk about if statement. So I was just trying to explain to you what we have. Another thing, the last one is string operator. Another is a string operator. So this one is used to is used for concatenation. Is used, we can say, uh, this one is actually the same thing. So we have dot. First one is dot and this one. So all of these are used for concatenation. Like this. Okay, so what you can do for this one, we can do. How can you use this one? First of all, we can remove this one to clear up the space. So let's create a variable here. Let's say, for example, name is equal to, name is equal to say Shabani, and the age is equal to 20. So we can do name, and we use that dot here to concatenate name and age. So if I save that, so we can use name, we put dot, and you pass, this one is just used for space, so we give a space between, and also put another dot, and I will now pass another variable. So this everything inside here, for example, inside here we use space. So PHP is going to interpret this as space, just the way it is. So if I save this and back to the browser, I reload, we get now Shabani, we see the space and 20. So if I put here, anything I put in here, it will appear. If I save that, you get that here. If I put a long space like that and the reload, we get space. Okay, so this is how we can use that, the first one. So we can also assign or append to text. So we can also, let's append So append, we can do name, and then you put that dot, the one up here, you put Shabani and echo name. What you will get? Reload. You get now Shabani. If you can remove this one, reload. So you get Shabani. So if you can put, let's say, Shabani and the Muswamba. If I save that, you see Shabani Muswamba. Right, so this is it. This was it for the data types. We have array, which we have already seen, but we can also get back to array because we will be working with the array a little bit more. All right. Next, we can do array operator. So for that, so array operators, we got let's say I can actually remove this one. So to clear up this space, say array operators. You see if we can get list. So for array operators, you got match. You got match. We got let's say plus. We got plus, which is a kind of union. Say union. So how can you use this? So we can do example. Let's create an example here. Example, say array, say people is equal to. So we want to create an array. So I don't want to explain to you about this type of array, but we just take it here, just type it like this. So I will explain to you different type of arrays later. Let's say A. So we set the key A, and then this way we can this way is correct. So A John, B is equal to John, C is equal to Do. And then more people, we can say D is equal to John, E is equal to John, F is equal to Do. So how we use the array operators? For example, this plus symbol. So this is just to mix, to put two arrays together, to match the array together. So let's say here we take all people is equal to people plus more people. So we take these people who are here and add in here. So add this to another array. So if you go back and you reload, we want to echo people. So we get break and echo people. So we want to see the list of all peoples, but we will get an error because we must convert that to, we didn't convert it. Oh, we did print. I didn't explain to you about print R, but this we did print R. Print R is also kind of converted to to convert that to PHP and then add also convert that to string and just print it. To tell Java to tell the PHP and browser that okay, this is an array and handle it as an array of string. So this is what we print here. Sorry about this. This is how we print it. Sorry, I'm trying to clear this. So we can see now we get A, B, C, D, E, F. So we get John, Jan, Do, John, Jan, Do. So we just take elementals in here, we add them in here. So we create the one thing here. So with this, there's many methods you can use. I'm not sure if we are going to use all of them, because some we just start exploring them later. So we can do, for example, this equal. So equality is we can also use let's say for example, let's copy, let's print dump result is equal to or we can take this instead to create a result. I just want you to see what we can do with that. So we can print to array. So if it's equal to, so if this one is equal to, this array is equal to this one, so it's print false or true. So if you reload it, you can print to false or print true. So it's also to just to check if it's actually going the same thing. So you could also identic or strict check. We can also use here. So let's say, for example, even if you could take the same array, if you take this one and this will make sure that it just appear the same thing. So if I reload, we get true. But if I just change one element here, let's say, for example, John, and then say do. So if I reload, we get false. It's going to be false. So it's identical. So you try to check if array elements are actually identical. If they are not, you're just going to return false, but else it return true. We got also if not, we can use this one, return true. If you put a not with so it's to also check if your identity of the all elements actually the same. So even if I put this, if I put this one, it is still going to be true. No, that is not true. Oh, you have to check if it is not true, but it's true. If you check, you put this one, you find that the error, the answer is true because they're actually the same. But if you check, if you put not, so to check that if it's not, so the answer we get is false. So we got match. We got match. We can't see all of them. The rest we will see them later on. But let's work on if else statement because we wanted to see about that. If statement, if else statement. Okay, so if else statement, what we call conditional, we can call if else statement, or the term we use with what the term we use is conditional. Conditional statement. Let's take an example here. So conditional statement, the job is just to check a condition, check a condition is a function, a built-in function. We just use to check a condition to execute before executing a block of code, or execute a block of code after certain condition is met. Let's say, for example, here, I don't want to follow that AI type. I want to do if one is equal to 0, if 1 is equal to 0, echo true. Else echo false. So what we are trying to do here, for this one, we just give it, we give a certain condition to check, and then you give the type of code to execute. In this case, we give condition to check if 1 is equal to 0. If it's true, so we can console.log 1 is 0. 1 is equal to 0. else 1 is not equal to 0. So if I print this one here, we get 1 is not equal to 0. Yes, of course 1 is not equal to 0. So if I put 1 is equal to 1, we're just going to print here 1 is equal to 0, or 1 is equal to 1, like this. Yes, like this. So we can also say, let's say we create a string here. Let's say name is equal to John, and let's say give an example. Country is equal to US. So if I say, for example, we check. Let's check if if John is from the US. So we can check. Okay, I can remove this one. I can check if John, if the name is equal to John, and country is equal to US. John is from US. So we just stop there. So if I print this, John is equal from US. Now let's say country is equal to Canada, and reload. We don't get anything. Why? Because for the statement, we give it statement to execute some code if one condition is met. For example, if this condition is true, we execute this code. But we didn't tell the function to do next if that condition is not equal to true. All right. So we can say, all right. So let's tell the function to execute a different type of code, or a block of code, if the first condition is not true. So we can do else John is not from US. If I save that, go back, reload, now John is not from the US. But if we can say not from the US, and we can use now concatenate dot, we just put dot, and maybe pass the country dot. We can pass now the space is from, and pass the country there. So if I save that, reload, is not from the US, you can put comma, and the reload, you see that is not from the US, is from Canada. You can stop this. Yeah. Okay, so this is how you can do statement. So you can give another, let's say, if it's not from US, we can also do else if, we can pass else if John is else if country, or John, the name is equal to John and the country is equal to Canada. If the country is not equal to Canada, is not equal to US, we pass that. Else we can say else John is not from the US. Okay, so we pass is not from the US. If I save this, we will get the last one. Let's see. Oh, we'll get this one. Why? Because you check the condition. Okay, it's not from the US, so the answer is this one. But if you say, oh, it's not from Canada, I save that, we reload, we get John is not from the US, because We also check if it's not from Canada, but here is Canada. So if I put here, let's say, for example, here, you say DRC, I save it, I reload. Now we get is not from the US. So we execute this one. So that's how we can do chain method. You can chain the conditions, check another one. So we can use the operators too. I want to show you how we can use operators. So just to save time, can do if one is greater than two. If one is greater than two, we can echo one is greater than two, else two is greater, else echo two is greatest. So if I save that, I reload, two is greatest. So this is we can use operators in if statement. We didn't add here. So we can use operators in if statement to also check. So we can work on that one, but these are things we can actually see them. We saw some of these. Let me show you an example of operators. We can use operators. We just good to at least have idea. If statement operators like this. So I want to show you an example of a list of operators you can use. So you can use equal to, equal. We can also use not equal, equal. I want to AI to complete the rest. So that is equal, equal, not equal to, yeah, identical, not equal to, and not equal, not identical, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And we also have ternary operator, which is a question mark and column. And we also got logical. So we got much of them. So some of them we will find it when we start building application. So it meant take us a very long time to complete all of them. But let's take we can take it a quick way. Can you do it a quick way? Let's say, for example, let's say var age is equal to 18, and we can now do if age is greater than 18. So we use this one, greater equal to. So use if greater equal to 18, you are old enough, else you are not old enough. So if I reload this, you get you are not old, you are old enough. But if I put here, let's put 17, and guess what we'll get? You are not old enough. You get you are not old enough. We can also do if age is equal to 18, we get this. That one is not correct. So if I put 18 here, save, reload, we get here, you are old enough. Okay, so we can also do, that's the same thing. So I want to jump a little bit to show you ternary operator. So instead of do this long way like this, we can use a ternary operator. So we can do echo, echo, you are at age, So I don't want to confuse you. I just want to explain to you because I don't want to go step by step for all of this one. So it's a scratch course, so we can always see the same thing in a different way. Maybe if we start building a project, a small project, we can see the rest of the operation if statements. All right, so we can do echo you are and put dot if the age is equal to 18. We can now pass echo this one, echo this one. Else you can say not, you are not enough. So this is the same thing we are doing here. The same condition is this one. If it's equal to, we can print the message. Else we can do this. So this one, this column you see here, so we use it as a else statement. The first condition we can check. We can check the condition. The first statement we check the condition, and after semicolon or semicolon, we use it to check to execute the else statement code, a block of code after the first condition is not met. So this is it here. So if I save this and I go back reload, so we get the same thing. Yeah. So if I change here, we can change here if it's greater equal to 18, and let me change here to 16 maybe. Save this and see, this is the current answer we have here. But if you reload, you are not old enough. So this is the same thing. So you can use one line, a single code, a single line of code to just execute a statement, a conditional, because sometimes we don't have to write the whole thing, to go this line and jump another one to just check for one condition. That's one way. So it's the same thing I can do if it's less than 18. So we can give a different answer here. Old enough, else not old enough. So we can say old enough if is less equal to 18, old enough to be a child, kind of, or not old enough. So if I reload, we get the first one. Why? Because it's less than 18. But if I do, let's do greater than 18. If I do greater than 18, so that means we want to check if it's 18. Say you are not not 18, not over 18. Yeah, so we get that one. You are not older enough because this is 18. So if I put 18, we want to get that one. Yes, you are not old enough. Why? Because you are over. Yes, over 18. If I reload, we get that one. But if I put here 19, let's see, 19, what we get here, you are over 19. So this is what we can do. So we got much of them, bunch of things to do, but we can also just cover a few of them. The rest we will you go start seeing them when you start building some application, start doing cool things with PHP. All right. Let's go to the next one. We can do switch statement. We can do switch statement. Do that was if statement. Do switch statement. Switch case statement. So is kind of the same thing, but we got different things. Instead to check for many things, let's say if I type switch here, I want to show you what you can do here. So for switch statement, we can we can check a condition and execute a block of code. For example, you just create switch, you just create a switch statement. This is how we create a switch statement with the key switch. So you pass your variable. You can pass a variable, or you can just say here. Let's say, for example, if one, let's say, for example, one is greater than, if one is equal to one, we can import. So this is the same thing as the one we did. We did to check if one is equal to one, or one is equal to two. So it's the same thing, but we're just doing in a switch statement. So switch this case to another case. So if one is equal to one, we can do something here. Let's echo one. One is equal to one. Break is there, so we must do break to stop the execution. And we can also give now a default way. So this is kind of else. If you don't get, there's nothing, there's no condition meet, we can just echo one is not equal to one. So I can just stop that, put again break. So break just to stop the execution. If I reload this, one is equal to one. But if I go back here, if one is equal to two, and I save that, back reload, one is not equal to one. So that you get the last one. So it's kind of the same if statement, but we just we do it a different way. So this way you can execute the same code, which for example, let me give you an example. We take here, instead to give one, we give now this variable name. All right, so for this variable name, we check now if the variable name is equal to Shabani. So you say, okay, welcome Shaban, welcome plus name, kind of. You can do welcome plus name. Else, welcome guest. We can do welcome Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest, maybe something like that. Okay, so if I reload this, see what we get? Welcome Mr. Guest. Now if I change the name to Shaban and reload here, welcome Shaban. So it's kind of the same thing here. So you can check another case. If let's say is equal to name to John, welcome John. Sorry, welcome John. Else you can also do the same. You can do something else. So if, for example, up here I change this one to John, like that. Is that correct way? Yes. I don't no. John. I save and reload. Welcome John. So you can even create a function. So I just wanted to integrate or to switch to functions before jumping back to loop or to to loop. So I can let me show you that. Okay, we can do the same thing here. So we can call a function, say execute or call a function, invoke a function, function to greet user. So greet. So we can pass the name and pass whatever you want to pass. All right. So PHP function. We just want to talk a little bit about PHP function. PHP have PHP quite many or so much function, built-in function, which can be used for different which can be called for different purpose. But you can also create a custom function or create a function the way this is how you create a function. So you just give a key, a keyword plus the name of the function, parentheses. So the function can also take a parentheses or arguments. Function can also take arguments. For example, here we say greet or greeting. So we pass here, we don't pass anything, and this function, after is being called, well, when you invoke this function, doesn't do anything, but let's say once you invoke this function, it can return maybe a message. Just return echo hello world. Hello world. So anytime you call this function, you can return hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world time. Say, for example, PHP something. So if I just take this function here, up here, we can say if name is equal to PHP, we just call this function. Instead to return this or echo the message here, we can call greeting. So we call greeting function, and we don't pass anything in there. Okay. So if I reload, it won't do anything here. Anything will happen until this switch statement or this function, this built-in function meet the name. So let's pass here PHP. Pass the name here is called PHP. So if I reload hello world, I didn't pass the same, but you can maybe go say PHP info like that. So if I reload now, I call it again. So you see, okay, hello world, but we pass PHP info actually can take the whole page, because these are built in PHP, can give you the info. But let's take something simple. Something simple. I can say hello world from me. Yes, but you see, this is the point. You get the point. All right. So next, we can go and see how we can pass now argument or parameters to this function. So the function can take parameters. You can say, for example, take for example name or argument 1 and argument 2. So anytime if you call this function, we can print out argument 1 and pass argument 2. So here, now you can see up here, this guy now complains, say, hey, you're supposed to pass argument. This function is expecting argument, so you must give it argument. Let's say, for example, let's say the first one, say Shaban, and the following one is say do. Okay, so if I save that, I go back, I reload, you can now say hello world from me, Shabani, do. So you can give any type of a block of code to do in here. You can also ask this function to just return. You see here we are using break to stop the execution. So we can also do, instead of doing this, we can do, okay, just when you call this function, just return that. So stop the execution. Nope, you cannot do that. Instead, we can do it here, return. Yeah. So once you call this function, it will do the same thing as this. So it put break. So this is another way to stop the execution, because if you don't stop the execution, so the program keep going. So this is a create a memory leak. So like your computer keep or the server keep executing the same code, call it again and again until the the computer or everything just going to break. So what we can do is, all right, you call the function and we're expecting to stop the execution. So we call here, yeah, we call the function here, and then the function just stop the execution after that. Hello world, hello PHP. Which one? Sorry, which one was that again? Yeah. Okay, so we can, but the best practice we do is we make sure that you just put a break here. So that means you can execute any code, any block of code up here and stop the execution here. So this was it for introduction to a function. So we can see many, much more function. But we want to jump a little bit, jump back to arrays so we can see how we can do integrate loops. So we talk about a built-in function for PHP. So one of them, they are loops. We got maps, we got for each filters. So we're going to work on all of this. All right. Next, let's work on map. Sorry, loops. So let's say PHP loops. So for loop, we got for each loop, while loop, do while loop, and for loop. So when you write a PHP code, so sometimes you want to PHP to read or to keep executing the same block of code over and over again. So to handle that, you can use one of these PHP method, PHP functions. Sorry, you can use one of the PHP loops. All right, so how can you use loop? So to use loop, you can only use loop in array. So loop is only executed in array or through a block of I don't know, through array. Yeah? So let's say I can say, okay, for each, we start the first one. For each, so we take people, this is the array, for each as a key. So we take this key, this is key, and value, this is now the value. So you have key and value. So we take now, for each key, we can echo. We don't want to do anything here. We just want to print out echo key and value. And then the last one after that, we just add break. So we can remove this. If you remove this, it should be just a long string. I want to show you an example. Let's go with that demonstration to see what will happen. So if I save this, what this is going to do is the for each loop, just going to take all elements in array. So just going to loop all over the element and print out. If we reach at the end or the last element, so just going to stop the execution. So that's simple as that. So if I save this and go back to our browser, so this is what we're going to, this is what we get. We get John, but we're supposed to get now a bit space. That's why I say we could have add break. So the job of break is just to show a little bit of space. You can also add hyphen or something like this to just show you this is the key and this is the value, and the last one add a break. So if I go back and reload, you see now what we get now the key and value, key plus value, key plus value. So I could change this to just add something like this. So if you reload, this is what it's still going to get. So this is for each loop. So what it does is just take the element, loop through the entire array, and print out or execute the code. This could be something, for example, do math, do something which you can do. Let's say, for example, we create a variable, do is master is equal to, we take the key. If key is equal to a, if key is equal to a, we echo is master. We can execute another statement, another condition. If key is equal to b, is the second master, and else if the key is equal to c, is the third master. But we can do else the last one. Let's do else is not master. So if I save that and reload, but we're supposed to add a break, so break is important here. We can echo that plus break plus break plus break 2 and another one. So if you reload, see what we get. John is the master, Jan is the second master, Do is the third master. So this is it, because we only got 1, 2, and 3. So if I add another one, another element here, let's say Winnie, and if I save that, Winnie is not a master. So that's now this last bit or last block of code which is executed to. So this is it for each loop. So these are things you'll be using. You will start using it a lot when you start building your applications. Another one is we got for each loop. Another one is while loop. So they're all doing the same thing, but just different cases. All right. So for while loop, let's try while loop. Okay, for while loop, we can create a counter. So you specify the number of time which the counter, which you can execute this type of code. So we specify the counter, then a number of time, and then you tell now while loop to execute now. Let's say, for example, here we set count is equal to 0. And then we say if count is less than 5, is count is less than 5. So what this does is that, okay, so he can keep executing the same code as long as the condition is true. So this is the condition. This is actually the same condition we saw earlier, the if else statement, and all of the statements we saw earlier. So this is a way we are doing it here. So we say count is less than 5. So echo the count is, and then we count the count, we print out the count or the variable and plus break. So the last one we just do increment. We're just going to increase the count by 1. So if I save this and go back to our browser, reload, so you see count is 1, 2, 3, 4 until 4. So it's not going to execute the last number, because we said if count is less than 5. So we don't say if is less equal to 5. We say count is less than 5. So for while loop, this is how we're supposed to do it. And be careful with the while loop. If you do it another way, you say, for example, count is greater than 5, or count is something else. So this meant require you to reset your computer, because it will keep looping and looping until the computer your computer run out of memory. So we can't do that. You don't need to do that. So the best practice, you just do count is less than, you give the number, let's say if it's less than 100. So this will execute this block of code for 99 times and stop. So if you want 101, you can do like this. So this will execute the number 100. Exit this number 100 times. So let's say counter is equal to 100. And if I save that, go back, reload, we get here 99. And if I put here 101, so here we'll get 100. This is 100. All right, so we can take this array, the array we have here, array of people, we can do now, we want to now to echo people here. We can do count. So we can use a PHP built-in function which called count. So this one is used to just count the element in the array. So count is a so this can you can use array or an object to just count the element in there. All right. So we pass now this array of people. So instead to specify the number here of count, we just pass now our array. We pass the count. This is a built-in function, and also we want to just count the number of people in this array. So we can instead of console.log that, we can console.log names, console.log people count, and then break. So people count. Before we saw how we can print out array element by index, index 1, index 0, index 1, index 2, and see the suite. So here we can now use index the same count was here, which is so count 1, count to 0, count to 0, count to 1, count to up to the specified number. But instead of doing that, we want to count the element in array and just print them out. So if I save this, down here we just do again count plus plus. So if I go back here, we get an error and define array key. Instead of doing that, we can do JSON, or we can do, yes, JSON is actually fine. Print that one. Yeah, to convert to string. Let's try to reload. Nope, I think that's a bit wrong. Let's see, count. Yeah, let's see a count like that. So I know what is happening is, okay, here we are printing, but if you get the last one, if there's no element, you should throw an error. So we will work on that later. I will show you. I don't want to confuse you with many functions, but right now we just count the element in our array. So this is a way to do it. Okay, next I want us to do print out the names. Names, to print out the names in array, or all peoples in array. All right, let's go into that. All right, so we want to now to print out people in here. Okay, so we saw earlier, if we try to do that, we get an error because of index. We saw our array called keys and value, But the best way to use to print out, we can use for each loop. But we can also use a while loop or do while loop. So how are you going to do? Let's try to use a while loop. So we can do value. We want to print the value because we don't want to print the keys. We only want value. So value is equal to array value. So array value, if I hover, max hover like this, array value. So this is used only to get the index. So to get index, get values from array of index, array code or associate array. So this is what we are doing here. We're just trying to remove the keys and just get value. So if we get value now, we can just loop through them. So we can take the value and pass them here. Instead of people, we pass value. And now here we can now echo value, value and count. So this one, let's call it index to make it a bit compressive. Index, and this one is going to be index and print index and index plus plus. Yes, index plus plus. So if you go back, this is our browser. If I reload, now we get John, Jan, Doe, and Winnie. So it's the same thing. Even if I change this one here, you still get the same thing. Yeah. So this is it for do while loop. But if I go echo break here, echo break, do while loop, you can use here do while loop. So do while loop, you can also convert value to just get the do array value to just get the values, remove the index. And then for do while loop, for do while loop, we want to do the same thing. Okay. Okay. So for do while loop, um, you can do while loop. It does the same thing. So the thing is, it can keep executing the code as long as the condition is true, or the specified condition is true. For example, here, got break here. So we use a do while loop. So to execute first, execute the code and check the condition. Execute the code and check the condition. So this is what we have here. If I save, I can comment the last one and just reload. So you see, okay, we just going to execute first the code and check the condition. So we get the values, or we create a new array here of values, and we echo index, which is the index of 0 here. We echo it that first, and then we do now the while loop. We do the while loop, we check the count, and we break and come back again or return back again. No, break is actually here. So get this, remove this one. So we do the while loop after condition or after count increment. That was for the while loop. Is nothing complicated except they are the same thing. Yeah, they are doing the same thing. But let's talk about for each loop. Okay, for each loop also we take element. We take the values, and we also I want to show you a little bit how we do this. So we define the variable index inside the condition. The other one, you see that the variable is defined outside of the while loop, and here which was actually inside, yeah, and outside, okay, also. But for loop we defined inside, and now we take the condition. You can see the semicolon is here to show the end of the line, and then we take the index. Index if is less than count of value, and we just do now count increment, and we also do the increment inside the parentheses. So the rest here we're just going to console.log. Oh, sorry, we're going to print out the rest. So I can actually get rid of this, all of this one. So we just focus on for loop. So if I reload, we get the same thing. So I can add to this one, add again, let's do again. Let's say, for example, also maybe any key here doesn't matter. And let's say, for example, Shabani. Yeah. So if you take people, we take people, that one. And if you reload, see what we get. We get the same array here. Okay, so this was it for loops. We got bunch of them, but we can't do it. Here we just talk about essentials. Essential can help you start working with the PHP, or start developing with PHP programming language. All right. Okay. Next, we want to work a little bit on files. We can work on if you go to PHP file. So here is we can actually get much here. So we can learn much here. No, so much things we can't cover. We cannot make it to cover everything in this tutorial. So we can just cover essential things that can help you get up and start writing, start programming with PHP. So we got things like files and match. So you can please go ahead and read more about this. So we got files, include all of this one. But what I want to do, I don't even want to spend much time here looking for. We want to work on a few things. We want to work on few things, which is include ones. Please go ahead and read some of these. Okay, so what we want to do, we can go back to this our site. Yeah? I can save this and reload. So I actually just deleted everything. So this is what we get here. First of all, we are going to work add PHP some HTML here, because this course is not about HTML, so we are not going to talk about that. We want to add some HTML and also add some CSS. So this could help us just keep going. But before that, we want to talk about talk about files and include. So we have. Let me talk about this one first. Let's From here we can do PHP. To PHP, yeah, like this. So we can do. We want to talk about file require file, or include file, require or include file. So if, for example, we say require, if you want to include a file here, you say, for example, require let's say require, for example, config function.php. So if this file is not there, this is going to throw an error. So the script will stop here. Let's say the script will stop. Will stop. Stop if the file doesn't. If the file not found. I want to show you an example. This is what I want to do here because we don't want to cover everything. So if I reload, we get error. We get an error. It requires function.php failed to open a stream, no file or directory found. So another thing is we can do include. Let's do, but first that function does not exist. But if I create it, create a function here, let's say files.php. This is the function. There's nothing here, doesn't matter. But if I just reload, that will load now. The error is gone. I want to show you another example. We can also do include file. Let's say include not function. Let's do, for example, include config, just a file called config.php. But if I reload, it doesn't matter. So this can, the function want to crash, the script want to crash, it want to stop, it will keep going even if it doesn't exist. So let's say, for example, include header.php. So I want to create header here. I want to create header function, a file.php. So even if that folder is not there, I can do a headers. No, we don't have headers, but if I reload this, doesn't, you want to crash, you can see that it's still executing the file, executing the script, but it's showing you that function, that file doesn't exist. So if I change here to header and reload, you see that everything is still okay. So that's the difference between header and require and include. So another thing is, anytime, if for example I put this one, you say include. So anytime this function, anytime you reload, we keep loading the same, checking for the same file. But another way, the recommended way you can do is include once. Include once or require once. So this will only load it once. It will only load this one once. So if I can do like this, it should load the function. So this is only once. So if you go, because the PHP, you cannot read it from here. That's the thing for PHP. You cannot read it from here. So if you change here, it doesn't matter. It's still okay. But it doesn't, anytime you require, you load the PHP, you load the page or user reload the page, we are not going to keep loading the same file again. We just load once and so in the memory. Okay, that's one. We can also talk about read function. Let's say read and write to function. Read and write to a file. That's what I mean. Read and write to a file. To files, maybe something like that. Okay, so we can do, let's say, for example, F open stands for function or file open. So you can open, you can see here that you can open string, you pass the name of the file, open the name of the file and string, so boolean, if the path, I want to show you just, this is actually scratch code, so we need to actually do write it. We don't want to test things. So let's say, for example, file put and say content, I want to show you an example. For example, we do file put content, and then we say, for example, logs. Let's say log dot text here. So say this is let's say this is our log message, and file dot, we call now file dot append. This is a log message, and then we must call file dot append. If you go to PHP, I'm not sure if you can open here. Let's see if my editor will allow me to open. If not, we can copy the link. Copy this link. Yours meant to try yours, you can open. Mine, I think, is something is stopping that from opening. All right, so this is how you can see that we can let's see. This constant has not effect when it's propagated. The constant below are defined by this context. Okay. All right, so let's see. Let's get back here. I don't want to read that. I don't want to spend time there because this video is already getting long. Well, so we do file puts and content. File puts content. So what did I here? If I hover, mouse hover, you see that we get this is the function. This is a built-in function. Remember we talked about built-in function. So this is a built-in function. The function take the file name. So you take the file name. So if this file doesn't exist, you will create it. That's the thing. If it doesn't exist, it will create it. And secondly, we take now the data, mixed data, and also you take the flags, which is equal to 0, and also content. Let's see. Okay, so if this file doesn't exist, we're just going to create a new file. If I save this one and go back, application, reload, the file, we didn't get an error, but the file doesn't exist. So if you go back here, we get now that log is here, which was created automatically. So it doesn't matter how it exists or doesn't exist. So that's the best of PHP. Yeah? So just going to write that function. So it's a quick way you can do. So another way you can also do is you can write also. If you also want to read that content, you can do. Want to read the text was here. So what I want to tell you first of all, that anytime if you use a load, this is the text here. So if they use a load, let's see, load again. If we get back, you see now the text appended there. Is keep writing to the same file. So if you want to get that, you can assign that to a variable. Let's say file or content logs is equal to a file get. Here is file put, now is file get content, and then we just pass the name of our file. So I can just echo that log. So if now print out, you'll see that message is here. So it's printing everything there. Sorry, everything was there. So this is a put. This is how dealing with the files. We also have, you can also write it to a file. Let's say we also have f open, like this one here. We can do, for example, file is equal to f open. Let's do, for example, sample sample.txt. So we want to pass write. W is equal to write. So this overwrite. So if you do file, and then now we can do write, f write. This is a long text, and then f close. Now you close. You must close the file so that you can stop the execution to prevent the memory leak. So if I reload, we won't get any error. We don't won't get any error, but we can now read that file. This is the file. If you go, the sample text is here. This is the long text, but if you want to read it, we can do. We can also read it. We can use one of the method we saw there, which was a while loop. We can use a while loop, or you can just read it, but you must maybe comment this to stop the file from being writing there again. So this sometimes it can create different line. If I don't comment that, let's save that and reload multiple times. Let's see what we get there. We didn't get anything because it's just going to overwrite if the text the same. But if I say another text, this is, I can maybe do lorem. I don't know, lorem sum, something like that. If you reload, now lorem sum. So this is just going to overwrite the existing text there. And we just do for each loop. So we do, how can you do for each loop? So we do, that's one way you can read it, first of all, but you can also read it this way. Just take the file, you pass R for read, and then we can do content. Content, this one, another way to read it. Content is equal to file dot read. So we pass the file, this is the file, and we pass file dot size, file size, and then we pass this one, this guy again. So you can just call the close method. Close method and echo the content, you still get the same thing. But the thing is, this one, if it's a bit long, it won't be that good it won't be that looking good. So this is for reading and writing file, writing to a file. So we also have append to a file. That was reading and write, but we also have append to a file. So append to a file, you can do something. Let's do, for example, file is equal to f open. You pass, for example, another sample text, another sample.txt. So now we pass append. So we can do fwrite, file write, and then we pass that file. This is a new log text, and then we close. So if you want to read that, or you want to check if that file exists, you can also check if that file exists. And so read the file. You can also do the same thing. If I go to home page, you get that the same text there. I can clearly up this one. What next can you see? So anytime if you want to read the text, if you want to read any file, you must also prevent. Let's say, for example, I want to read a file called, want to read say prevent errors. So you must know how to prevent errors from your function or your application from crashing. Prevent errors, or prevent your application from crashing, or prevent errors. So you can do, this is a good example here. Check if file exists here. You see, for example, here the function crashed. So let's remove this one here. I want to remove everything, put them here. So we want to, I can delete this file. I can delete it like this. Okay, so I save. You see, before the application stop the execution, or the script stop executing because of the file, because this was require the file and the file doesn't exist. So for this time file exists. So we check if file exists, we require that file. So before to require it, we just check it if it exists. So if I reload at this point, there's no crash. But if I remove this one here, remove this, put here, and then reload, it crashed. Why? Because here you just want to load the file and it doesn't exist. But here now we see, let's check if exist, we load the file. So we can do the same thing, even if header exists, if exist config file, so there is no problem. If exists header, database header, so if it exists, we load it. If it doesn't exist, we don't do anything. Yes, remember we saw about this in our previous episodes about check condition, do something, or just let it go. All right, so this was it for file, requiring file, and processing file. So next, we can just go ahead and work on our small project. All right, next we want to now start building our small project. But before building that, I want to show you a couple of methods, a couple of built-in function we forgot about here. We are not using a database yet. So we can do dump or var dump. I want to show you a method we are going to use. Var dump $ underscore saver, like this. So if we save like this, yeah, but we want to go to network. So go to, you can do Control plus Shift, or just go to here, more settings, and more tools and developer tools. So you see this one. So if I reload, we want to go to the name of our site, which is this one. If I go, we go to inspect network. We go to network response, and you'll see this is what we get. So I want to show you what we get in here. This is what we have in here. Okay, so if now these are built-in function, this is PHP functions method. So a lot of you can access from PHP. Remember, PHP is a server-side language. So it's just just showing you everything about the server. You can see where this file is located, and it's from my C drive, and folder which is XAMPP, and Apache bin, and the OpenSS. So is all over. All the information are here, but these are not important. There's a couple of things I want to show you in here. For example, we can get method or get a request. We want to get the request, but the best way so I can do, we can do like that. We can give parentheses. Since that is I want to show you this. This is an array. You can see it's an array. We talked about array. We saw the PHP array. So this is an array. So I can do array and search for key. I want to search for request. We saw one way to access array data or array element by index. So we can also access array element by key or by name, by key. What I mean by name, key name, if you know it. For example, I could say request method. So these are built in PHP method. Request method. So if I reload here, we will see which method we have there. Okay, you can see here, up here is showing you get. Even if you go back here, we come back here, you see that we get get, because the default method for HTTP we are making here, you are making get request. So you are getting the data. This is what you can see here. We are getting the data from the server. All right, but what I want to do, we want to use this. Use this method, and we also want to use a couple of them. But before that, I want to show you that I have added some CSS here, because I'm not going to show you how to type or how to install the form. This is what we have so far. This course is not about the CSS or JavaScript. It's about PHP. We just have a form input here with a little bit of styles, and this is the stars. So what I did is I created a folder called set, and within the folder I placed JavaScript. We don't have anything in here. We can alert hello world. If I save that to reload, we get hello world. Can remove that, and CSS is here, which we also link. Okay, so back to our HTML. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see that this is our HTML body. So it's just a form with the input text and another one, text area. That's it. And we are loading JavaScript here. So this is it for application. So we want to now start working on our data. So we want to show the message. We want to load a file or create a file name, which we don't have for now. We can create a file name variable called file name is equal to message.txt. So we can now do handle new message submission. Handle new message submissions. So we can do we can now use the method we got. We can do no, we don't want to use this. Instead, we want to do saver post. Saver, if method is equal to post, but we can use one. We don't want to make sure that it's we don't want to do strict check or identical check. Just want to check if method is equal to post. So we want to get name. I don't want to do that now, but I want to show you. What we get in there. So we'll continue later. So our post, you can see the method for our post is equal to post, or the method of our form is equal to post. So if I save that, but out here I can just log the message, echo, can do echo, yeah, we can do echo method is post. We don't do anything, just echo method is post. So I can reload this. That one is gone. We don't get anything. But if you can use fake filler, download fake filler for browsers, so that can help you speed up. So if I do this and send, we get now method is equal to post. Up here to response. Now you can see the response method is equal to post. So what you can do, if method is equal to post, if I log, if you want now to get the data or form data, how do you do it? To handle now form data, you can do, for example, or dump, var dump post. So want to see everything is coming with the post. So if you reload again, right now is empty. You can see that if post will come with the name. That was actually, this is saved in the memory. This is saved in the memory of PHP. But I want to show you the new one. If you reload the new one, you see now the new one is coming there. The new one is name, and Yeah? You got name and you also got message. All right. So this is how you get the post if you post. But if you want to get now, we can do say get or get method. And do get method. So I can do if um, if method is equal to get, we can console.log. We can sorry, I keep saying console.log. We can print. We can echo file name, which is there and is nothing. But if let's check, we saw how we can prevent from getting error. So if I reload this, Control Shift, reload. So if I go back here, try to reload by the default method is get. So if I reload, we get here, but I can you can just comment that the reload we get nothing because we don't have anything. That file doesn't exist. The file doesn't exist. But if you want, you can just look kind of look a message here, hello world. So if I try again here, we need to see the message, hello world. Okay, we didn't get the message because of get. Yeah, because of get. So if you want to do that, you can maybe try to manipulate the header. You can do, for example, name. Try to reload. Now you get that hello world. So that this is the content actually. If you manipulate the URL, so we will get something there. But we are not going to work on that now. What we want to do instead, we can we saw the form data. So by default, form is always submitting. It will submit to the same file, which is index.php. But you can also submit. You can also specify this one to action. Let's say, for example, my site, and we don't have that. But you will see that we get error. So if I reload this and I try to submit, it will try to submit to that file which doesn't exist. You see now we get error. Not found. So that means if you want to submit to this file, you can also do this. We create that my file.php, and this method you can write this here. What was it? You can let's copy this everything. You can copy it or cut everything in here. I just want to show you an example. So if we reload, we don't have error. You see now it's going to my site, but my site there's nothing there. My site there's nothing there unless you want to lock anything. You can maybe lock let's say echo site and then break like that. So if you reload, you get now this one here. So this is another file. But we don't want to do this. We want to focus. We want to write everything in the same file. So this one you can leave it as it is. Doesn't matter. Yeah, leave this one back here. So we can also make sure that by default we just submit to the same index.php. So if I go back to index.php, that was the one. If I reload, you get the form. So if you try again, submit, it's gone. Index.php. So you can see that it's still the same file. So if you don't want to see this one, you can just go ahead and remove the action here. And if you reload that, go back, try to go back and reload. So try to submit again. If you want to go anywhere, it will stick in the same page, on the same page. That is correct. So this is how we can manipulate form data. So if you say you want to see any input field, input field, sorry, input field, you can just try to submit again. You see that you get name, you get text, you get. So if I want to get text, I want to get name here, so I can do. I can just pass curly bracket, oh sorry, parent curly square bracket to access the value, because this is an array. You can see this is an array, and we go to names. This is key and value. Key and value. The value is empty, not empty. The value is here, and these are key. So I want to access this key name here. So I want to print out that one. So if I submit, reload, we get the name. Is a string. You can see it's showing you a string of 15. If we can count them, you see that there are 15. So if I try again, maybe Shabani Muswamba, and submit again, you get there Shabani Muswamba. So you can do print name and also print message. So we don't want to this one. If I reload, we get name and message. So now we separated separately. If I try again, we get name, and message. All right, so now we saw this is how we can access the data. So you can go ahead and manipulate the form data. Go here, search for form data. You can also use AI to help you. The form, form data, or form input, form creation, form validation, examples. So you can go play a little bit with so much things here. You can manipulate the data, you got a lot of there to do. Okay, so now we saw how we can do this. Next, we just want to go straight forward and start building something. Okay, so we want to get the name. Now to get the name, you can do name is equal to post name, and also message, post message. So we don't want to write it that way. But what we want to do first, we want to do HTML special characters. We want to you can purify the HTML. So we can do, how do you purify that? You can do HTML special characters. So you can see here that HTML special characters convert special characters to HTML entity. That's the functions. We get text string, and then also okay, I will show you what we do. So HTML special characters, and we pass name. We pass this post name. We also do the same thing here. HTML special character, and we pass that one. I will show you once we start saving it. I'll show you how it will appear on the text, because you want to break the lines automatically. Okay, next we can now create the file. Because we don't have file, we don't have file where to write this one yet. But we can also create date. We don't talk about date, but I just wanted to talk about that. So we can do timestamp like this. So timestamp, this is the date we get. We saw how we can print out date, but we can also we can get date, month, day. Year, month, day, and we can also get hour, minute, and second. Okay, so we can do, and we can do, for example, okay, we can actually go ahead and install this, but let's do a check if is not empty, if name and message are not empty. So we can do if not empty. This is another built-in function I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to we can talk about if not empty. So if not empty, determine if a variable is empty. So if your string doesn't exist, it will return an error. No, sorry, not error, but it will return false. In this case, we want to check if it's not empty. So that means it's true. So that means we got a data, and also if message is not empty, we do something. But if it's empty, we can just ignore it, or we can print out something. So if it's empty, we can now take how can you do that? Another way we can do that, okay, let's say entry, do entry like this is equal to, we take name, and we can take, I want to show you, we can do name, and also name like this, and also message and timestamp, and then this one is just help us to make a break. So this is how we can show to tell PHP that, okay, make a break here, or the line end from here. Okay, so after that we can do file input contents, file name. So this is our file name. It doesn't exist, so it will create this file. We saw about this file, put content yet. We saw about this. So we can now pass entry. This is the file name, and we pass an entry and file append. So we just append to the file. It's append to file. Okay, that's for append to file. So if we don't have that file yet, if you go here, we don't have message. The file name is message.txt. We don't have it, but if everything goes well, we reload this, we don't see anything here, and we try to save, there's no error. And if you go back now, look, we got now message here, and this is now Hannah whatever here. Yeah, I can also put my name. I say Shabani Muswamba Kachimbisha, and I can get Lorem. Let's say Lorem, the long one, long text. I'm getting it here, but you can also just generate this from VS Code. So I can paste this here. Sorry. And if you go back, you see that this is the content is here. Now I want to show you about break. So you can see the pipe we put is here, and another is here. You separate the name and the text and the date, but the line end from there. So we got a break because of this, because we tell this to put a break. Yeah. So this is another also Shabani, Muswamba Kachimbisha. This is a Lorem, the long one. After that, we get a break, but we can also put another. If I put another, and down here, we also get the same thing and break. So anytime user save message, you save like this one. So this was, you are writing to the file. So this is not, here is not about storing a database SQL. No, this is just write it to your file directly. It is very, very fast. All right. Next, what can you do? We can now get that message. we can read that message. We can write the message and get it. Okay, so what about displaying that message? So we want to display the message here. So what I can do, we can go back to our PHP. Okay, we want to write here. We can now write another, say PHP. We want to write PHP here. We want to close, make sure to close the tag. Close the tag like this. Oh, yeah. Now close the tag so there's no error. We have errors here. Yeah. So you want to make sure that this is actually correct. Oh, you need to close this. Now the error is gone. Okay, what is happening here? We want to make sure the file exists. This is the file. File ignore new line. Yes, but we don't want to do that. I want to show you the way we want to do it. So we can do display file. This is display message. What I can do here, if file name, since we already have file name up there, if file name, but we want to check if file name exists. If file exists, we show it, and we pass file name, that one, up, this one. If it exists, what can we do here? We can get now the messages. So messages, we can do messages is equal to file, and then we just we take the message. So if we want to now to print out that message just the way it is, if I save that and I reload, you see what we get. Reload, you see we get the message here already. So we get the message and then we just print them. But if you want, you can also put them line, for example, title and whatever. So what I can do is now just about write HTML inside the PHP, or style HTML inside PHP. So we can do if we have message, we have files, so we can do messages, and we can remove this one, but we want to get the index. We can get index as index, and then we also get message or line. You can do something like line. Get now line, since the lines break, so we want to access the every line break by line, line by line. So if you get that, we can now do something else. Part is equal to exploder. Remember, we have this guy here, the pipe we use to separate. So explode. So we want to create a new array. Explode and trim. Explode is another PHP function. So expected 2 argument. Explode expect 2 argument. The separator and the string. Though now the explode is you can give it a string and create an array from that string. You can give it a string and create an array from that string. So what do we say? Okay, explode, and we can do trim, and then now pass the line. So what the trim does also, trip white spaces or other characters from the beginning and end of the string. So just remove the spaces. Okay, what next? We can remove this one. We don't want. Let's add a bit of comment here. Can do only show valid. We only want to show valid entries. Valid entries. So that means if you got data, we can show valid entries with three parts. Three parts. So that will have three parts. So we got name, message. Our three part is name, message, and timestamp. So this is what we want to show. So we can do if count is equal to 3. If count is equal to 3, so we can also use identically. Count is equal to 3 or count is equal to 3. And what can we do? We can now take, we can create another array. Now we can do name and message. We can get name, message, and timestamp from parts here. And now we can do div. We can use echo div. Echo div. The first one we can echo div. Div. We can also add a class here. Class is equal to. You can use if you use double quote here, you will get an error. Let me show you. Class name, if I use double quote, I get an error. So you can use single quote. I told you can use single quote or double quote. Single quote, and class name is equal to class is equal to message, like this. So this one is open here. So we echo one, but we don't want to close it here. So we can close it after, like this. So that means the rest of the things we can write in here. We can echo different lines in here. So for different lines, let's say, for example, we want to echo, can echo name. So to echo name, I can do, I just do, say name, name. So I can do echo name, but we can use maybe use strong, like strong HTML, strong, like this. And we don't give it any class, is fine, but we can put strong, and let's do break the line like this. Yeah. So we want to put now HTML inside here. So we can do HTML special character, and then we pass again the name. So we'll print the name in here. We can now print also, let's say print, we can print a break. Let's put break. We can put break or line, kind of echo break, like this. So that you stop the line, we show the title, and then the following one we can show. What can we show next? We can also, you can you can print, maybe let's print maybe print maybe NL break, and then special character. You pass now our the messages there, but you can also put dot to make sure that now you add now the break at the end. So NL also is a HTML line break before all new lines in string. Okay, next. But if I save this one for now, we go back. I want to show you what we get so far. This is what we get so far. Because we also got some styles. I got some style here, which is already here. So that's why you see we got messages, background, everything. So I've already styled everything here. Okay, so this is how the new messages appear, the lines. And next, we can we want to show um, we also want to show, let's say we can show another line here, echo. Let's say echo div. Do echo div, echo div. So this one we can do class name timestamp, and then just pass timestamp here. Nope. Yeah. So make sure to clear up this one like this. Now the error is gone. Nope. Close the line. Yeah. So that will show timestamp. If I save that to reload, will show timestamp down here. Now we want to show also what we want to show again. We can show a form. So delete form. So delete, we can see form, form delete button here. Okay, is AI can help do that, speed up, delete, reload. Now we get delete here. These are delete button. So if you want to add class, delete, what is our style? Sorry. So, okay, let's work on delete now. Okay, for delete, we have this class here, delete, so we can use it in here. Delete form. You see here, we echo form, echo form, but we don't want to pass to action. We don't want to go there. We can instead just we post to this form, to this file, and the method is just going to be get. Just going to use get. We can use get, or we can use delete. So it depends. And so what can you do here? We have that, and form. This is the form and class. Oh, sorry. Class is equal to delete button. This is the one. Okay, so if I save that, go back, reload. This is what we get. This is the class name. Sorry. And now for form, this form, you can also add a class here to just fix that a little bit. Class is equal to maybe if you don't need to add class, you can just add style and do style and inline display like this. So if you reload, what you get, yeah, it's not that bad. Okay. So we got now value, we got now the keys. I want to show you something here. So here now we have for each. If you console.log, if you echo key, we saw about key. That's not key. Yeah, that's not key. If echo key like this, and key plus break, we will see what we get there with the index. So that's kind of index. So you see that we get 0, 1, 2, 3. So these are index of the messages in there. So what else can you do? We want to get the index, but another thing is we want to make sure that the counter is not empty. Let's try to put identical. Yeah. So to make sure that it's not empty, we got something there. Okay, so this one could be, why is it too small? The message is too small, eh? I don't know. Anyway, it's okay. If you want, you can also wrap it in paragraph. There's no problem in that. So here, you see now this is the for each. We can get the index, but now we want to delete. Want to delete the index. So to delete the index, you can take this one. This is our index. These are index, but it's kind of key, a key kind of index. If you want, you can change that to index, but you can just use it key. So we take, if you see now, input, we have input here, type of heading. So that means it you want to show. If I say type of text, it will show there. If I put it here and I reload, look what we have. Now it's showing the index 1, 2, 3. So we don't want to see that. We don't want to see it. We just want to hide in it. So if I reload, it's not there, but the button is there. So if I press submit, we will send this value to the form. We will send back to this one, back to this file. So submit back to this file. But before submitting, we can do confirm. Before closing, where is the submit button? This is the submit button. Okay, before close, we can use the button on click. So this kind of JavaScript built in. So this kind of JavaScript built in. So we can do on click. Yes. Now the AI is smarter. So what I do is on click, we return confirm. Are you sure you want to delete this message? If you also want, you can pass message with the value. You can pass with this with the value or with the name, but we don't want to pass that. So if I save that and I reload, so if you click delete, now we get that message here. So if I press OK, we'll just remove that message. We will remove, but we want to remove message, because we are not doing anything here. We're supposed to do here, up there. We're supposed now to delete that message from delete the message from this message. Where is it again? This is the message. So we're supposed to delete here. We're supposed to delete this one here. All right. So what can I do is we can do another method, built-in method, which is iSet, because if you don't have value, we don't want. If you don't have any value, we don't want to get error. So we can do sorry, not that, $sign, but not even $sign. You can just do iSet get, and then this is how we can also access get. If get, and then we check if delete. If delete, so get, if delete, so delete, where's the delete coming from? And ask, delete is coming from this this button here, this input heading with the index. Name is supposed to be delete. Where is it? Oh no, we don't have ID, but let's use delete, because we don't have ID, we don't have database. Delete, and index, we pass now this one as index. Okay, so up here, if we just want to lock the get method, get, we want to lock, yeah, we just want to log this one, deleting message, and we want to log out the get method. So if I reload, And if you press this, delete that, and you see that deleting message, now we pass the index. So here we can now delete it. Since we know we are getting a message, we are getting now the index. So we can now loop again here and just delete that message from the file, from our files. So we can let's do index index to be deleted oh, deleted is equal to get. So we get that one, we assign it there, but we can also make sure this integer. Remember, we will talk about integer. We can do integer, integer, not int. It's integer like this. So this is how to make sure that you only get the integer. If there's no integer, we forget about this. So we can check now our file name. Since we want to delete this one, if it exists, we can do if file exists, that file name, if it exists. So we can do lines. Don't want that. We can do lines is equal to file names. So we get the file names, get the lines, get lines. So we want to get lines here. And then what can you do next? After I get lines, we can now check if the lines, we got the index. So we can do if I set. So I set is also another PHP built-in method. If I set determine if variable is if variable is declared and is different than nil. So this is what we use is. So it's the same way you can do. You can check that if this variable is not equal to nil. So we do if lines, and then we pass lines here. I want to tell you lines, when we get here, we get now as a index, as we get lines as a array. We get lines as an array, and then we pass now index. So we remember we can access array from index or from element name or key name. So lines, we pass now an index. If we get that index in here, so we can just do unset. So unset, just remove unset given variable. So just remove from a given array. So unset, just remove an element. So remove here. Now we want to remove element. Let me show you an example what I mean. We will get we have an array, for example, let's say people, like this is equal to let's say a say A1, person 1 is equal to Len, Liege, Hannah, and Debris. So if I do unset, so I want to remove this key, the one we are doing here, unset. So we want to remove this key. So that means when we remove the key, we remove the whole thing here, like this. So this is unset. This is what this guy does. So we do unset, and we take again, we resave again, or I don't know how you say that English. So you save again. So we do again file put contents, and then we take the file name. You put again explore. Employ is not to just put the string. Save it as a string again. Oh no, do it again as an array employee. If it's the array employee, join array element with a string. Okay, so that's it. So if you go back, you reload, you can delete this, it's gone, delete this, it's gone, delete this, it's gone, delete this is gone. So you see now how many you are getting. You know, we also added this, the default one. So we can delete almost everything that going. Delete is going to, so I can remove this one, reload and try to delete again. Delete. You see that array up here is index 8, and delete again. Now you see we have very many, very few left. So can delete everything from there. Everything. Yeah. Now we only have 3 left. One. The last one. Now reload. We got nothing. So we want to go to back to index to here. So we get this one. One we probably missed because of the line, of the line break. All right, but this was it, the whole thing about PHP. So this was a good startup for you as a software developer, or you want a feature software developer. So this was it. Next, we can now integrate my SQL integrate database. So instead to save here, we can use database. You can see here that with the this guy here, we got to database with the example. We got database, so we can work on integrating database, but we also have much more left, which we didn't cover. Classes, we can work on the classes, work much on save data processing, uploading files, all of that. All right, so we can work on that. Please leave comment, like the video, and share with the others. My name is Shaban Musomba, and see you in the next video.
Right, that's it for now, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Do stay subscribed for more.